Right. Hi, I'm Peter Sidwell. Welcome to Simply Good Food TV's kitchen. Welcome, Claire. Claire Cashmore, MBE. So we're very privileged. Paralympian. How many medals have you got?
8 Paralympic medals.
8?
Yeah.
You must like jangle when you walk.
Yeah, you know, I always carry them around me, constantly in my pockets.
Wow, no, brilliant. Really, really pleased to have you here. Obviously, you work with Simple Seeds, don't you?
Yes.
So they supply your breakfast.
Yeah, my favourite meal of the day.
Okay, and you cook it yourself?
Yeah, cook it, or I have it as birch muesli. So quite often, being an athlete, you're constantly in a rush.
Yep.
So I will soak it the night before, just put a bit of milk in it, leave it overnight, take it with me to training in the morning. And
Every day that breakfast?
Perfect. Pretty much, yeah. Sometimes twice a day.
You never waver to a bacon sandwich?
The
or
weekends,
as well?
yeah. You don't have one or the other, it's both.
Right,
and
okay.
Plus more.
Okay, so you've already been out for a bike ride around the Lake District already. How many miles have you done?
Do you know what? I don't actually know because my watch died halfway through. But I went for about 2 hours, so I probably covered quite a fair distance.
And how did you like the hills?
Yeah, I actually prefer going up to going down, which is a bit crazy.
Okay, right.
I find the speed going down was not being able to control. It kind of scares me a little bit. So yeah, no, I actually prefer, which is so pathetic, isn't it? It's absolutely ridiculous.
Okay, so I was set the challenge to kind of cook with our Simple Seeds porridge here. Yeah. So I know these guys, and they came on board with Simply Good Food TV last year. Beautiful products, lovely people. They are on their way. They're stuck on the motorway. So if you are watching,
they will be here.
Enjoy the motorway. But I wanted to cook 2 dishes for you, or with you, depending on how much cooking you want to do. And I wanted to cook something a little bit different, something you might not have expected to do with porridge oats and seeds and things, and kind of maybe surprise you on what we can cook. And I also I've not cooked for a Paralympian, so you know I can tick that box. You know, I've done princes, kings, I've done MPs and all this sort of stuff. Mum, dad, grandma. But yeah, so
I'm easily pleased. To be fair,
I know you say
I love food in general, so I don't mind what it is at all.
It always worries me when a woman says she's easily pleased, because I feel like I'm just being lured into a false sense of security.
I don't like it. Don't like that.
Yeah. So I thought to cook 2 dishes for you. One, I'm going to cook with some beautiful fresh hake. Had hake before?
I'm not sure if I have actually.
So my fishmonger Steve delivered this morning. It's beautiful, fresh. It's quite it's a bit firmer than cod, and it's almost a little bit creamier. I find cod's kind of very light, whereas this has got a bit more flavour to it, and it's a bit more robust. It takes a bit more cooking.
Full of protein.
Yeah, full of protein, lean. We don't eat enough fish in this world, in this country. For an island nation, we're terrible at it. Yeah. Awful, and we should be better, but hey, we'll get there. We'll get there. I don't think buying fresh fish is as easy as it should be. No. And I think that's part of the reason why we don't always buy it. But hey, so I'm going to serve this with a really lovely, kind of vibrant, fresh salad. So loads of raw veggies, and then sort of bound together with soy, sesame, and then I'm actually going to roast some lovely oats in some Korean chili and sesame oil to give it some real crunch and texture. And I'm going to mix it up with some peanuts as well, so you get really kind of crunchy, nutty textures, but big flavours as well, and hopefully really clean and fresh and healthy. And then I'm going to do a bulgur wheat dish, and I've got a lovely sirloin of beef that I'm going to cut the fat off. We're going to char grill it, rest it, marinate it up, and then I'm going to flavour the bulgur wheat with raw fennel, onion, California prunes, dried cranberries, and then we've got these lovely simple seed mix, which is the Cajun spice mix. So kind of loads of crunch and nuttiness. Flavor. Yeah. So hopefully, should be good.
Sounds great.
Okay, so first of all, we'll get the hake done. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just gonna crop into that there so you can see the hake there. So we need to get a little bit of oil on the fish. Now it's really important that you oil the fish, not the pan. Okay?
Why
because if I put oil into the pan, and then it'll start to get too hot and it'll start to smoke. Whereas if I get everything ready on the fish, then that pan, see that it's getting hot now, yeah?
Okay, so how hot is the pan at the moment? Is it a...
It's at 7 out of 9, so
Okay.
it's 3/4 of the way on the heat, okay? So we'll just zoom out there so everyone can see everything. Okay, so we're going to season it up. Now, instead of salt, I've started using seaweed. Do you use seaweed much?
No, I don't, but
Okay.
I love seaweed.
But if you... So
Can
it's
I try-
just...
can I
Yeah,
try?
absolutely, help yourself.
Oh.
So I'm kind of... It's got that kind of minerally, salty flavour to it without adding salt. Because of obviously where it comes from.
So is that because obviously health benefits that you
Yeah,
use
I
it
think
to-
seaweed, you know, it's packed full of iron, vitamin C, zinc, that sort of thing. It's very natural, you know, and I just, for me, I like natural things. I like natural products. From a cooking point of view, the more natural, the better. And then it's what can you do with it. So, we've got oil on the skin there. Okay, so we're going to go skin side down and hold it. So you hold it for about 30 seconds.
Is that almost to like seal it?
Yeah, well, what's happening is when you cook fish and when it's really, really fresh, when you get heat, it kind of curls up.
Okay.
And what I want is a really nice, even distribution of heat, because it's a decent size. It's quite a meaty fish portion. Okay, so you want it to cook nice and evenly. Okay. So hot pan.
Can you eat, like if you didn't cook it enough, can you eat it raw? Or
It's not going to hurt you.
No, it's not like...
You know, fresh fish, undercooked.
Doesn't matter.
It's not going to hurt you, but it's nice to cook them raw.
But just, you know, accidentally, if it doesn't cook all the way through, it's not
I think the thing
not
with-
a chicken.
No, it's not got the risk factor
Okay,
that chicken has. The thing with chicken is there's bacteria runs all the way through the chicken.
Yeah.
So that's why you have to cook it right the way through. Whereas things like beef and things like that, the bacteria is on the outside of it.
Yeah.
So that's why you can cook it rare and things like that. But that's just going to cook evenly, and then we're going to flip it over, and then we'll pop it in the oven for about 8 minutes, and that'll give us enough time to make the salad and the dressing.
Okay.
Okay?
Great.
So it's dead easy, you know. And if you didn't want to do it crispy skin, wrap it up in foil,
I
put
love
it in the oven.
skin.
You know.
Okay.
But if you're going to leave the skin on, it's got to be crispy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the oils of, because obviously salmon, I generally eat salmon just purely because it's got a lot of the oil you need. Does hake have similar?
It's not classed as an
oily
oily fish. No.
No.
So yeah, it's
It's a white fish. Isn't it?
yeah, it's a white fish.
fermented.
For me, I think it's just really taste-wise, I prefer it.
Yeah.
I used to do my fish and chips in my last restaurant with hake all the time.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. But if you like fish, you'll love this.
Yeah.
Really nice. Things like, salmon's lovely, but it's very expensive at the moment.
Yeah.
And it's a bit boring.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like I stick to salmon and I don't venture out from it.
Mackerel.
I need to...
Go mackerel in the summer.
Yeah, see, when I say actually there's no foods I don't like, mackerel is one that I think it's like used to
I nearly got mackerel.
Did you?
Nearly.
But I like it cooked, but I find sometimes it makes me gag a little bit.
Right, okay.
I will
It's
eat
not a
it.
good look.
Yeah,
It's not a good
exactly.
look. Okay, so we're going to make a dressing. So I've got sesame oil there.
Okay.
Okay, so nice and nutty. Okay, do you eat much Asian style food?
Yeah, I love Asian style
Okay.
food.
So you're based in Manchester, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay. So I mean, there's loads going on food-wise in Manchester
Yeah,
these days.
there's
isn't there?
loads of good choice.
It's great.
Every time you go into town, there's a new place, a new restaurant, and lots of individual places. Which
Northern
is really good.
Quarter, isn't
yeah,
it?
I
It's
love
all
the
going
Northern
on
Quarter.
there. So
Very cool, very trendy.
I like the cheese toasty wagon place. Have you
Oh,
seen that?
that's quite new, isn't it? I haven't seen it until
So
recently.
It's like kind of outdoor
Yeah,
sort of thing.
is it
Great.
good?
Yeah, it's great. I had the best toasty in there.
I need to go. Yeah, I saw it the other day and I was like,
Yeah.
I love a bit of cheese.
It looked, and it's all northern soul music blaring out. It's a
Very
very,
cool.
like you say, it's a very cool place.
I think there's a few along there that are just little outdoor kind of pop-up places that look very cool.
So, sesame oil,
Yeah.
soy sauce, and lime. So 3 things like really nutty, oily, salty, and lime. So
Okay.
acidity. So it's all really, really fresh and clean. And it's like about getting that balance because you've got like, quite a creamy fish. So you
Okay.
want something quite, robust. So, let's have a quick look at this, okay? So, fingers crossed we should have a nice crispy skin on this side. So, you should have, there you go. So what you notice is I don't really touch and fiddle around with the fish. You've got to leave it. Get your pan hot, get your fish in, get it cooking. Yeah, don't mess about with it. Just leave it, okay? And then...
Very meaty looking, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a really good fit. We do not
you don't cook it on the other side, you just put it straight in.
Just straight in the oven now. Yeah, and that'll cook.
Sorry.
Alright. So I'm going to get a pan on and we're going to start to roast...
The oats.
The oats, yeah. So this is something I came up with last night in my head.
So you've never tried it before?
Tried it about an hour before you arrived.
So, good luck.
And it kind of works.
Okay.
And it kind of gives that really kind of... I'm all about I try to be all about just lots of little things make a big difference in a dish. And that's what I've been trying to do. So, oats in some sesame oil. Okay, you don't want this too high a heat. And then I've got this, I can't even say this word.
Gochujang.
Yeah, Korean chili flakes. So you, obviously, as an athlete, get to travel an awful lot, yeah?
Yeah.
You must have a thick passport.
Yeah, it's got quite a few stamps on it. Although they're not giving the stamps in as many places now, are they? I'm always like, can you stamp my passport, please? I want to see where I've been, but yeah.
So where's the best place?
Oh gosh, that's a really hard question. I would actually probably say Brazil. Not food-wise.
Right.
And I am a big foodie, so that kind of put me up a little bit. But
do you get out and about much? Because obviously you're in the village, aren't you? And you're focused...
But I actually travelled for a month after Brazil. So after the Paralympic Games, I went around up the coast of Brazil, and it was absolutely stunning. Beautiful country. But yeah, the food was slightly disappointing. They don't have enough vegetables. They don't have enough...
Eat a lot of beef, don't they?
Yeah, and the beef is beautiful. It's really good. But I kind of want more veg and salads and all the other stuff that goes with it.
Music to my ears, based on what I've cooked for you today.
Exactly. Lots of rice and lots of potato it was.
So a lot of starch.
Yeah. Thailand was beautiful though. The food there was amazing.
Right.
Incredible food.
So where's next?
Gosh, well, I don't know. At the moment, I'm kind of changing my avenue that I'm going down. So I'm trying a few different things with sport.
So you're changing your sport from swimming to...
triathlon, para-triathlon.
Right.
So at the moment it's just in the transition. I'm learning completely new skills.
Yeah.
Obviously swimming, you're in a pool, that's all you do. And obviously the gym work. But triathlon, you've got 3 sports that you need to balance. And kind of need to learn how to ride a bike, which is kind of proving interesting.
Yeah, don't turn up with blooming stabilisers on, you'll never win.
Exactly. No, I can ride a bike, but it's... Controlling a road bike is quite different, and obviously with one arm, and it's slightly harder because road bikes just move so much that I'm suddenly like, yay!
So do you have something that goes on the end of your arm?
I wear a prosthetic,
right,
I haven't worn a prosthetic since I was probably about 5 years of age, and the only time I would wear it was to throw it across the room to scare people, so not really for anything productive. So to actually wear one now it kind of hurts my arm.
Right.
I'm just not used to having pressure put on the end of it.
Okay. And even though obviously prosthetics have probably moved on massively, you still prefer not to?
Yeah. Because I suppose I am who I am, and I
personal
kind of
choice, isn't it?
Yeah, I actually feel more disabled with it on. Right. I end up just hitting people, or it just feels like it's in the way. I'm like, what is this on the end of my arm?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not used to it at all.
Okay.
So that's a big thing to get used to. But no, I'm loving it. It's massively out of my comfort zone. It's a completely new challenge.
Right. And how long do you think it'll be until you're competitive at the level you want to be competitive at?
I don't know. With my determination, I'm hoping quite quickly.
Right. See, my daughter's going to... We were talking about this before. Yeah. My daughter's going to her first triathlon class today, and it's like, I can't believe they do classes for it now. And she's a really elegant swimmer, and she's very capable, but she hasn't necessarily got the drive and determination yet.
Okay.
And running is the same. Her mum's a great runner. Poppy is a great runner.
Yeah.
But she doesn't really... She hasn't got that, right, I'm going to win.
Okay.
She just...
Because what
she does, and what she does is, she's like, leaps ahead, and then in the last quarter of her length, she starts looking around, see what everyone else does. And they all just go straight past her.
Oh, really?
Because she's too busy looking at...
How old is she?
9.
Okay, so she's still very young.
That was what I was going to ask you. At what point does it kind of click and you then become quite competitive and wanting to win?
Well, I think I was always quite competitive.
Were you?
I kind of had that competitive drive since being quite young, but I think the most important thing is if she enjoys it, because that's what's going to keep her in the sport. It's as soon as you stop enjoying it or you're made to go, that's when it all goes wrong. So I reckon maybe when she realises that she's actually pretty good at it and she's got a good talent, that
she's funny because she beats all her boys that are the same age as her.
Wow.
And the year above her.
Gosh.
But she doesn't really. She's not got the determination to win.
People like that frustrate me because I'm like, I would love to have as much talent as you, but I was never particularly naturally talented.
Were you not?
Not really. No, I just loved it and I wanted to do it and I wanted to be successful. And a lot of it was, trying to prove people wrong that I'm better. And So,
And are your parents quite sporty or?
My dad's was very sporty as a kid.
Right.
Good at rugby, good at athletics. He used to tell me that he ran for England and it's a load of rubbish. So I told everybody he ran for England, but actually he was just making up stories to me. But no, what he
trying
was
to motivate you.
Exactly, he was a very good rugby player.
A good dad.
Yeah. And then my mum wasn't particularly sporty, but she, she does a lot now.
You must be very proud of what you've achieved.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think they are.
And do you have brothers and sisters?
Got two sisters,
right?
And they're both sporty.
Are they?
But also very academic too.
And are you academic?
I've got a university degree, so but I wouldn't say I'm particularly a bright
And what was that in?
It was in linguistics.
Okay, right.
So I wanted to go on to do speech therapy. And I'm currently doing a master's degree.
Right.
In leadership and management. So
very good.
No, I prefer the sport route to it.
Right,
I like being out and about and doing stuff rather than...
So, all I've done is, if you have a look at this, I've roasted them off, and you could do this well before time. Yeah. And you could pat it dry, get rid of all the oil, and then cool them down, and then just pop them into an airtight container, and you've got them then. And then I've just got some nuts here, some cashews.
So quickly. Need to learn.
It's
a skill.
Well, do you know what? It's a skill I use every day.
Yeah. And
I've been doing it 20 years. And I haven't cut myself for a little while actually, so I'm probably due a cut soon.
I don't really fancy any blood in the
No,
you didn't do that today.
I always think everyone always asks about chopping and everything like that, and it's one of those things that if you've got a good knife, I always say to everyone in the cookery school, if you're comfortable with the knife, then you're more capable and confident.
Okay.
And you're safer than if I said, if you hold that knife, that's quite a heavy knife for some people. Other people, that's not a particularly heavy knife. And like some people are more comfortable with a little tiny knife. Whereas I generally just work all day long with those two knives. I don't need 10 knives.
No.
You
found your two knives that are good for you.
Yeah, I just all day long really. Right, so.
They smell really good.
Okay. So just really, really crunchy. So we've got our...
So you only very lightly do the nuts, you don't do the...
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, they're already sort of roasted a little bit anyway. But if you were just doing raw peanuts or, almonds or cashews or whatever, and then that's it. And it's kind of leave them to cool, and you've got them then.
Okay.
To be able to just add that texture.
Yeah.
And I think... cooking is all about really lovely textures and flavours, and it should be something you look forward to. It should be interesting. It should be fresh. It should be exciting. Particularly if you like yourself, you've been working hard, you've been doing the miles.
Yeah.
I would imagine food is a real motivation for you.
Oh yeah, definitely. I am a massive foodie and live to eat. For sure.
Right. Okay.
It's like my favourite.
And
favourite thing I've done sport is to eat.
And do you feel like if you're out? Do you feel like you've got to earn your meal kind of thing? Or do you punish yourself and beat yourself up?
Do sport to be able to eat.
Right.
And you kind of feel like you deserve it a little bit more, don't you? When you've been out for a 3-hour bike ride or whatever, you're like, I can eat whatever I want here. But yes, probably the only thing is actually when you have done that, you can't be bothered to come back and cook a really fancy meal. So it's finding things that are easy, that are quick, but still taste really good. But I suppose things like this, you can do that in advance.
Yeah, you can do that in advance, and actually, while the fish is cooking, everything. It takes 12 minutes to make this dinner.
Yeah.
and it's not long.
No, not at all.
And if anything's going to take hours and hours and hours, then you've got to make that decision as to whether it's worth it.
Yeah.
And that's when slow cookers come into it.
Yeah.
Do you use a slow cooker?
I do. Mine's actually not very good, but I've stopped using it lately. It tends to burn a lot of the food or dry it out. So I need to invest in a new one and actually start.
Keep slow cooking. Keep everything really well hydrated.
Yeah.
And keep the lid on tight, and that will trap the moisture in.
Okay.
If the lid's ajar, then as it evaporates, as it bubbles away, you lose all the moisture. But it's about choosing the right cut for the right job.
Yeah.
So I've got some short rib braising away next door actually.
Ooh.
And that is like short rib is like a cut that sits on the rib.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like belly pork, but the beef version of it's really good.
You need to cook it for a long time.
Long time. But then it's got bags of flavour.
Yeah.
Bags of flavour.
Is it, if you don't cook it for a long time, then is it quite tough?
Tough as old boots. Tough as old boots, yeah.
I had a meal the other week which literally I thought I was eating leather. We went out to this hotel and the meat was so tough I couldn't even cut it. I was like, I'm not even eating this. It's horrendous.
It's a shame.
Nothing worse than tough meat.
Okay, so coriander, roll it all up, stalks and everything. There's some mint in here as well. Coriander and mint for me are the two herbs. They work beautifully together in this style food. Okay. Will you just give that a quick stir around for me?
Oh, you can smell. It smells really good. All the flavours.
Okay, so that hake's done. We're just going to let it rest for a minute. So who cooks in your house?
To be fair, my boyfriend does do a lot of the cooking. Yeah, he's very good at cooking. And he's a lot quicker than me, so he tends to do it.
Right.
But I love cooking, but I actually probably enjoy the eating side of it more than...
Sounds like a perfect relationship.
I do
one
the
eats,
washing
one
up or
cooks.
whatever afterwards.
Chef does everything in our house.
I'm like sous chef. I'll run around the kitchen doing everything else. Doing the boring jobs.
Right. Yeah, blokes tend to steal all the glory.
Yeah, exactly. I think they definitely do.
Okay, so that's it. Okay, so all we've got is just really fresh flavours. It's important that you don't mix this until the end. And if you were doing it in advance, put the dressing in first, put everything on top, leave it until you're ready to serve it. Okay. Don't mix it.
Is that because it goes soggy?
Yeah, well, as soon as all the acidity from the lime, the RAF going across today. As soon as you get the lime all over the herbs and everything, it starts to break it down. So I always tend to just leave it until the fish comes out, and then it's ready to go.
Okay.
Okay?
Perfect.
Right. So, would you like to try this? Like, there's two ways to serve this. One is as a salad, and the other is in a wrap.
Ooh, I think maybe as a salad would be quite good.
No problem. Okay, so.
These are nice bowls.
Yeah, we've got some nice crockery at the moment, so food always looks good.
The presentation of how you're doing it is pretty good too.
Oh, no, it's just sat on a plate.
Put it on a plate.
Everyone says that, but it's kind of like old habits die hard. You can't help but try and make sure.
Do it perfectly.
Yeah.
Are you a bit of a perfectionist? Yes.
I think I am, but I'm not a shouty chef. I'm quite relaxed.
Okay.
I'm quite a chilled out.
In the kitchen, effing and blinding, and
no, I never let myself get to that point.
Okay.
If you're at that point, then you're not prepared enough.
Yeah.
That's my theory. Is it? And my dad was a sergeant major in the army,
okay.
so everything was like planning in preparation.
Okay,
I'm sure in your world it's the same. So you can hear how crunchy this all is, yeah. For me, it's all about the texture. Okay, and then a little bit of coriander and mint at the end, and all fish for me kind of needs that squeeze of lime or lemon.
Okay.
Always, no matter what.
Out the flavour.
I just think fish always benefits from just that final squeeze. I'll let you go for that final squeeze. I will grab you a nice fork, have a little taste, see what you think. I also think some of this dressing, see all that dressing there, that's all flavour.
Go over the top.
Yeah.
I'm going to try a bit of the crispy skin.
And even if you wanted this, you could do this, like if it was middle of winter, you could do this with a broth.
Okay.
So you could make yourself a lovely chicken broth or something like that and just pour, put it in a big soup bowl and have it the same. But there you go, have a little taste.
Looks delicious.
See what you think. Is it something that you would cook?
Sorry, mouth.
No, not at all.
That's really good.
Is
really
it,
nice and meaty, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? It's quite sort of...
You just make it all look so easy, though. That's the thing.
Well,
I really
you probably
like
make
that.
swimming look an awful lot easier than me.
That's really tasty. Very fresh and lots of nice flavours in it.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of what I was trying to achieve, was really trying to make something full of flavour, fresh, vibrant, healthy. I mean, health and food at the moment is huge. It's not going away.
No.
It's only going to get bigger.
It's become so fashionable, isn't it, to be the healthiest food out there.
It is, but do you know
still
what?
Tasty.
Yeah, making healthy food taste good.
Yeah.
There's the challenge.
Yeah.
And it's not a challenge, it's just something you've got to think about and how you do it.
I think it's more people's mentality to healthy food as well. They're like, oh, it's just vegetables. It's like you can, like that is so delicious.
Yeah.
Actually,
and it's kind of, there's no starchy potatoes, there's no pasta, there's no gluten in there. It's all kind of clean and fresh, which is what I'm trying to do.
Have a little bit more.
Yeah, you go for it. I'm going to clear this away, and I'm going to cook the next dish for you to try.
Probably eating on TV is not a great thing.
It's what it is, isn't it? It'd be a rubbish cookery programme now, wouldn't it? No eating. I cooked for Prince Charles once, and nobody was allowed to photograph him while he was tasting.
Oh, really?
Well, it's, you know what the press, but the press photographers,
isn't it?
well, you know what they're like. They'll wait till he's like in his perfect position.
Yeah, exactly. Get the best angle.
Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely going to eat, so.
You go for it. Yeah, you're above that. Did you? So when you so obviously after Brazil, you must have been like public property and everyone wanting a piece of you and.
Not as much as you think. I think after London there was massive hype.
Right.
But actually after Rio it was slightly disappointing. It was almost a little bit of a...
But as a nation, you guys really delivered, didn't you?
Yeah, no, we really did.
Olympics and Paralympics.
Yeah, no, we did amazingly as a team. And I think exceeded all expectations.
Yeah.
And particularly for the Paralympics, in London we were really put on a pedestal, and was the momentum going to carry on? Was it going to be as good in Rio? It's constantly those questions. And before Rio, for both the Olympics and Paralympics, there's so much negativity, particularly in the media. The Zika virus, Rio not going to be ready, but it was just fantastic.
And were you worried that it wasn't going to happen at Brazil, or were you always pretty focused?
Yeah, I think you're always going to slightly worry, but then you realise that the media like to have a story. They like to look around it all. Yeah. So you kind of, you've got your one eye on that goal the whole time, so you kind of try not to get distracted too much by the media, and particularly the Russians being banned and things like that. It was all trying to get as much.
Are you in quite a bubble when you're there?
Yeah, definitely.
You kind of forget what's
well, you're in your own little world, you're in your own little village, and obviously the food in there, you have 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Is it good food?
No, it wasn't this time. No, I would like to say yes.
Just give me a shout, I'll come out. Where's the next Olympics?
Let's have a private chef.
Yeah.
But no, it was actually, we had the same food, lunch and dinner, for an 8-day rotation.
Right.
So normally there's loads of choice, but obviously because of the cuts, they didn't have as much choice this time. And McDonald's, why do you want McDonald's in a village? Athlete village where healthy people are meant to be, and you've got...
and how many athletes are in there?
Oh gosh, a lot. Honestly, the queues were ridiculous. And I even went after my racing. I was like, I don't even like this, but because there was no other bad food in there, I was like, I need something. So
is it when you've won something and you've nailed it?
Yeah.
You've picked up the gold. What do you then want to do afterwards?
Eat a lot.
Do you?
Yeah, it's ridiculous, but that's your main... Everyone's
like,
as soon as I've done my race, I'm going to go and have cookies and donuts and ice cream and everything that's bad for you.
Is that because you don't have it?
Yeah, because you're so well behaved before that, and you restrict yourself.
Right.
Definitely leading into a competition that you're like, I want this, I want to go and eat everything that I can't normally. But then you realise actually it's really not that great and slightly. I'd probably rather the other food.
Right. Okay.
But no, I just wanted some tasty food. To be fair, something that actually had flavour.
Right. Okay. And what's your favourite meal?
Oh, that is a $1 million question. I don't even think I could answer. I love curry. I really love Indian food. I love like sag paneer.
Yeah.
It's one of my favourites.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so many foods that I love.
That's a cop out.
Well, what's your favourite
Cheese
food?
and Marmite sandwich every time.
Cheese and Marmite sandwich.
Any time of the day.
Simple,
I am a cheap boy to run. Cheese and Marmite.
I do like Marmite to be fair, but I haven't had it in a while.
Where is it? It's here. Look, proper big jars.
Oh, that's a good jar.
You know, we don't
Add
mess
it into
about.
any food. Adds a bit of flavour, a bit of saltiness.
Okay, so I'm going to make you bulgur wheat. Do you eat much bulgur wheat?
Yeah, I do. I love bulgur
Good.
wheat.
You know, what I've done is I've just soaked it in boiling water and left it. And look how fluffy it is. It's one of those things that leave it, don't mess about with it.
Okay.
Put a good amount of water in it and leave it.
Yeah. Do you cook it in stock or do you
No,
cook
I've
it
just
in
cooked it in water because I'm going to give you loads of flavour through.
Yeah.
You know, we've got beautiful juicy California prunes here. We've got some
Love
dried
prunes,
cranberries for a nice contrast. We've also got pomegranate. We've got raw fennel. I'm a big fan of raw fennel as opposed to cooked. I don't know about you.
I love fennel just generally, but I do generally cook it. Do a really nice fennel gratin actually, which is lovely. But no, I love fennel.
Next episode.
Great flavour.
Next time she can
fennel
cook.
gratin.
Yeah. So for me, fennel is like I'm going to put more fennel in it than onion because I think it's milder, but it's also lighter and more fresh and more fragrant.
Yeah.
And I'm totally into this kind of raw and cooked at the moment. And I think it's probably quite a nice way to cook because you get that kind of, you know, we've got a nice sirloin of Cumbrian beef here for you to try, a sirloin steak. But I'm going to cut the fat off because I don't think it's necessary for this dish.
Yeah.
You know, don't get me wrong, in a restaurant and everything, it's lovely to have it all rendered and crispy and beautiful, but
you don't need it.
I'm trying to create kind of midweek stuff that's just packed full of flavour, and actually one sirloin steak would serve two of you. Okay. You know, I'm not a huge meat eater, and I think generally we should probably eat a bit less meat. Yeah. But, you know.
Saying that, my boyfriend has just gone vegetarian.
Has he?
What are you doing?
And he's an athlete?
Yes.
And what does he do?
He is a triathlete as well, actually. So yeah, but he's decided.
So is he offering you
reasons, which I'm like, I don't really want to know because I do love meat, but I do agree you probably shouldn't eat quite as much of it. And I have probably cut back a little bit, but I love a good bit of steak. I do really enjoy.
Well, it's good, really good quality Cumbrian. I mean, very blessed.
It looks very.
You only have to look out there, and there's some cows on that field there. So
super fresh. Did you just go kill one early yourself? Popped over, fingered over the shoulder.
It's one of those things. It's like this time of year as well. Eating lamb is a little bit kind of.
Yeah.
But as I say to my daughter, they would not be there if we didn't eat them.
It's true. It's true.
So with the fennel, what we're doing is we're just chopping it really, really fine. And if you can't chop it this fine, just pop it in a food processor and just pulse it.
Okay.
Just rather than turn it on, and it will just blitz it down because you kind of want that. You want little pieces, but you don't want massive, great big chunks of fennel in there.
Yeah, I think mine would definitely be a lot chunkier than that. When I try to cut onions finely, they're always slightly chunkier.
Right. So what would you cook for your boyfriend then? Obviously not meat now.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to think of something slightly more exciting.
If he picked up a gold in the next triathlon, you think, well, I'm going to have to cook him something nice.
Well, we did some really nice, actually. There was sage and lentil croquettes the other day, which were really good.
Nice.
I really like the sage.
Sage is lovely.
Yeah.
You have to be careful with sage that you don't overdo it because it can get quite medicinal.
Yeah. So we did a nice roast dinner, and that was our meat, in a sense. That's a good way of getting hunger out.
Yeah.
I always sit there picking them out for ages.
So just crunch it with your hands.
Yeah.
And then just smack it to butter. Obviously turn the knife the other way up.
So what do you, if you're not a massive meat eater, what are you, more of a fish man?
I do really love fish, but I wouldn't say I don't eat enough fish.
Okay.
Because I don't think it's easy to buy fresh all the time. But I do love fish. I worked in a fish restaurant when I was younger in Yorkshire where I was brought up, and it was brilliant. I've learned so much about fish. Lime juice straight in there. So we've got California prunes, we've got dried cranberries, we've got pomegranate, fresh pomegranate,
fennel,
lime and fennel. So the acid in there from the fennel, from the vinegar, I'm going to add a touch of raspberry vinegar as well, is just going to kind of break down and just very gently just begin a very light pickle on there. Okay? We'll just
raspberry vinegar, can you actually taste the raspberry in it?
Yeah, it's really, it's just, if I just did all lime, it'll be like
too much.
Quite sharp. Whereas with a little bit of raspberry vinegar and the lime, just kind of work together, yeah. So, red onion. Really finely diced. Just teasing you now. I dread to think how many onions I've chopped in my life. The worst thing is, you know, when you do cut yourself, like my mother-in-law loves it quietly. She loves it when I cut myself because she's like, about bloody time.
You're so smart.
Yeah, you know, you chop away there and you're chatting, you know, and you know. And it's always like, if I'm doing it live, if I'm down at BBC Good Food or anything like that, and there's kind of a couple of thousand people in the audience, and you're like chopping away anything.
This would not be the right time to do it.
If I cut myself, it's going to be a right nightmare, isn't it? And I have cut myself. I have cut myself on stage before once. And do you know what the best way to do it is? Obviously, cauterize it, which kind of hurts a bit. Don't do that. I'd made some bread, and then I was doing something. I chopped myself, and I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to stick my hand in a bag of flour that I wasn't going to use, and I left it there. And I was just chatting away like this, and it just. I don't know what it did, but it stopped.
It had nice, like, bloody flour all over
Yeah. Luckily, I'd used the flour.
Did anybody realise?
No,
you managed to
In fact,
cover it up quite
well. It was at Carfest last year.
Oh, was it?
Have you been to Carfest?
No, I haven't, but it's meant to be very good.
Awesome.
I would like to go, actually.
It is really, really good.
I'm pretty sure some PCs were there, actually, last year.
Okay.
I think she asked me to come with her cafe day, but unfortunately I couldn't get up. Being the Paralympic year, it was a little bit mental.
Yeah, you were a bit,
not much
a bit long. So, good olive oil, and a decent amount, because what you want generally is 2/3 more oil than vinegar, or acid, or whatever you're doing. And that kind of makes our dressing, okay? So what we then do is we take our bulgur wheat, and we add the bulgur wheat in, okay? And you can see how light and fluffy it is. And then we're just going to mix that, so that all the flavours coat the bulgur wheat.
Presumably this is something you could make also and then have...
Definitely. If you had this for dinner tonight, tomorrow morning, it'd be beautiful. It works so well with halloumi, this.
Ooh.
So, with your boyfriend going vegetarian...
It's perfect for him.
Absolutely perfect. Yeah. Really, really good.
I do love halloumi. It's become so fashionable lately as well, isn't it? Everywhere you go...
It's good stuff.
Halloumi and falafel.
So you... Like chilli or not chilli?
Yeah,
chilli. Should we put a bit of chilli in then, shall we? Okay.
Big chilli fan. Like I say, there's not much I don't like.
Right.
Other than mackerel, which... Oh!
Ooh. Well, we might get there.
Yeah, no, I can, like I say, I can eat it. And if it's cooked, it's a lot better than the smoked whole mackerel.
Okay.
So I was in Croatia, actually, not long ago, and... Basically, whatever they caught that day, they'd come and just have a little barbecue and fry it up for you, and it was mackerel, and it was lovely.
Yeah.
So I think I do like it if it's done well. But it's just quite often the shop bought.
Mackerel's one of those things I always say, buy it the day you're going to eat it.
Okay, yeah.
Don't buy it, put it in the fridge and have it tomorrow. Yeah. Always buy it, cook it, eat it.
See, I've never actually cooked it myself. I have just simply bought.
Whatever we just did there with the hake,
same
exactly
thing,
the same.
Okay.
Fillet it, go to your fishmongers, get it filleted, and just cook it in a nice hot pan. Okay. Always dry the fish. Store it on some kitchen roll and get it really, really nice and dry, so that when you put the oil on it, you get a really nice crisp skin. Okay. And actually, there's a classic way of doing it where you take oats and you sprinkle the oats on the fillet of fish instead of breadcrumbs.
Okay.
I was actually thinking about whether to do that for you. Yeah. I was going to do you some posh fish fingers, but we were going to do half rye bread, half oats, and just coat the fish in those as breadcrumbs. But
that sounds really interesting.
Maybe you'll have to try that yourself.
So would you use like an egg and then put it in?
So I would egg flour and breadcrumb it, but the breadcrumbs would be half rye flour, half rye breadcrumbs, and then half, you know, the simply seeds, just plain oats.
Okay.
But there's a real, traditional way of cooking fish, usually trout actually.
Okay.
With oats.
Okay.
So yeah.
Oh,
so this steak, I've just taken the fat off. Okay, because
a lovely bit of steak. That's really good.
We're just going to season it up. Okay, I'm a big believer that you need to cook with salt and pepper generally.
Yeah.
It's kind of the foundation of good flavours, I believe.
Yeah.
So salt and pepper, and then a little bit of oil on there. That's it. And then you rub the oil on the meat, flip it over, do the same again, and then all this excess,
just rub it in.
Bring it all in, okay? Because you don't want to lose it. Okay, and now since we've been chatting, so 10 minutes this grill's gone on.
Okay.
Okay, so it's
nice
hot.
and hot.
Okay, straight on. That's it.
Nice sizzle.
Always a good sound.
Yeah.
Always a good sound.
You know you've got it hot enough of it.
Yeah.
Sizzles away.
Right, so we'll flip this over. It's got raw on that side. And again, don't touch it, don't fiddle, don't mess about with it. I'm just going to quickly wash my hands, yeah.
So when you get impatient and you're like, I want some food.
Just go and get back on your exercise bike.
Yeah, exactly.
Now you've got
go
three sports to
distract
master.
yourself for a minute.
How did you feel then about having obviously hit the pinnacle of your career and then gone, right, I'm back down to the beginning now, I'm going to start again?
Yeah, it is hard because I suppose...
Must be.
You know, it's like you're good at cooking.
But I'm alright, so far so good.
I'd say you're pretty good. This has proven it to me. But no, to go into something that you don't know if you're any good, it's quite a challenge.
Particularly when your boyfriend's good at it as well.
Exactly.
That's a bit...
I reckon I can do better than him though. Wow. Maybe I shouldn't set myself up for things like that. Shouldn't be so cocky. But no, I think it's definitely hard to do something that you don't know you're good at. And I think as human beings, we're always quite scared to do things that are out of the unknown.
Well, they do say you should do something every day that scares you, don't they?
Yeah, and I think it's true. And I definitely have been doing lately. Riding on a bike downhill.
Yeah. And were there any other sports that you looked at before you settled on?
No, because triathlon's always something that I wanted to do.
You kind of cracked one out of three, haven't you?
Yeah, and I used to run as a kid, so it was kind of...
There you go. See? That's what you want.
Look.
Alright.
Yum.
Now, the residual heat on there is enough. I'm going to turn that off.
Okay.
These are really good. Do you use induction at home or are you on gas?
I'm on induction, yeah.
Induction.
Yeah.
I love induction, particularly at home. And these are great, these grills. This comes with the netting. Okay. And it sits flush onto the griddle. And it just completely inducts all the heat everywhere on that griddle. So it's like if you had, 6 steaks on there, you'd be quite happy. And the great thing is you can just lift it up, pop it on the table if you want. Oh, yeah. You can do what you like with it. It's brilliant.
You almost have like a little, not fondue, a raclette.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. No, definitely. So, loads of fresh coriander, loads of fresh mint in there.
Do like coriander.
And then we've got our simple seeds Cajun one, because I thought, you know what, it's just got some really good flavour.
Yeah.
Do you just sort of nibble on these whenever?
Or I just add a little bit of crunch, like you say, to certain meals. Salads in particular. Yeah. But something like this is perfect in.
So,
they're really tasty.
Give this a really good mix. And I mean, it's just colourful.
Yeah.
It's just interesting. It just makes things... I always think if it's kind of this bright, lovely colour, you're halfway there, aren't you?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Okay.
That's good.
We'll have to put some in a lunchbox for you.
Yeah, please
No way
do.
home.
I'll
go with my apples cakes.
Yeah, they were
take one of those for your boyfriend. Vegetarian,
he'd
isn't
love it.
Yeah. Put you in the
I
good
think he'd
books.
love this as well, actually.
Oh, we'll see you right. Right, let's have a little taste. Always important, taste everything all along the way.
Got to make sure you get a good prune in there.
So it needs a little bit of seasoning.
Those prunes are really good.
Just really juicy, aren't they? Let's lift this steak off.
That's good too.
Let it rest.
Seeds as well in there, I think, really add.
Crunch, so you've got sweet and fruity, you've got crunchy from the seeds, you've got a little warmth in there, you've got bursts of fruit with the pomegranate. You want to make the food just really interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think, I was doing a radio interview yesterday about kids eating. and how to get them eating. And obviously it's a work in progress. My kids are only 9 and 5. They're good eaters. They're not perfect, but they are good eaters.
Okay.
And I think it's because they're familiar with a lot. I've exposed them to a lot of foods.
Yeah.
So nothing's too scary, because I think kids get really...
Well, it's textures, isn't it? People don't like textures of weird things.
Yeah, it's a funny thing, really.
I think exposure is a massive thing, though. Right?
Yeah.
So many people are like, what's a courgette? Or what's an avocado? And you're like, gosh, if
Yeah,
you're not, like, that was just a basic food when I was growing up.
Sure.
Lucky to be able to be given all those things.
Yeah, you're right. It's very much that familiarity, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got our steak on here. So we're actually going to just dress it on the board, okay? So a little bit of sesame oil there, tiny bit.
You like your sesame oil? It's
good.
good.
On these dishes, yeah.
The Asian
Just
kind of.
yeah, a little bit of soy on there, and then a little bit of raw garlic.
Garlic adds. You need it in everything, don't you? I think.
I love garlic.
Although.
Just can't really quite imagine.
Breath is another graveyard.
Well, you know, make sure you're both having it.
Everybody eats it nowadays, don't they? That you don't really.
So all I'm doing really is just mixing those flavours together. A little bit of that chilli in there. Kind of into this. It's kind of good stuff. And then just with a fork, just break down the garlic, and then that's it. And all we're going to do is sit the steak in that dressing and carve it.
So you kind of go on the side slightly.
Yeah, chefs do that.
That's just to let go.
I don't know why. Well, we're increasing the surface.
Oh, that's perfectly done.
We're increasing the kind of surface area of it, but if I'm honest, I don't know why it is. Like in the 90s.
I'm asking these annoying questions.
No, not at all.
I don't know why we do it, but we do.
I'm honest, if nothing else. I've no idea. We just, in the 90s, we just cut everything on an angle. I don't know why. And then...
Looks good though. We'll mix it in there.
Mix all the flavours in, alright? Get your meat fixed, because you're not allowed it there.
Exactly.
You feel guilty. In so much trouble.
Get my iron in.
Yeah. Is there anything like you really struggle with food-wise to get, my wife's vegetarian, so she doesn't get a great deal of iron in her diet?
No, I used to struggle with iron. I had glandular fever when I was, my teenage years, and I kept getting anemia after that, so I had to eat a lot of iron. Whereas now, I don't think generally I struggle with anything. Vitamin D is one of the things, and you can't really get enough from food.
Right.
I think generally you have to supplement for that.
Okay. And what are your thoughts on supplements?
As long as they're obviously legal and okay, I think
Don't
sometimes
talk
you have
badly.
to. Yeah.
It's hard work at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, let's not go down that
No,
route.
sorry.
But no, I think some things your body, you need it. Like vitamin D deficiency is massive. Right. And I did have to have vitamin D tablets. Quite regularly.
Yeah.
If you could get it through food, I would. Otherwise, I like to get things through food. Otherwise, like vitamin A, B, C, everything else. Bit of oil on top. Yeah,
I think what it does is like sometimes we get criticised and stuff for too much oil, but olive oil at the end gives that kind of nice silky kind of mouthfeel to it. And it's just all these tiny, hopefully it's just little.
It's good for your oil anyway. It's good fats. It's not like it's.
There you go. Have a taste. So we've taken the sirloin, we've char grilled it, we've rested it, and then we've dressed it on the plate in soy, garlic, and sesame. And kind of as the juices have started to come out of the steak, it's all mixed in with the dressing. I think it's quite a nice way to have half a steak but feel like you still have a full meal.
That's so good steak.
The
chili's got a good, nice little bit of kick.
It's that Korean chili. It's really interesting. It's great flavours.
I'll have some one piece. That's really good. I definitely agree with all the... Goes really well with the steak.
Quite a good way to use up any roast beef leftovers as well. If you have... Sunday roast beef and you've got leftovers, and obviously you can just dress it in that dressing and leave it. Obviously it works really well when it's warm and it's come straight off the grill because it's absorbent. Yeah. And it's a bit like, I think dressing all kinds of things from vegetables, salads, fruits, meats, dressing. Because They're very absorbent when they're warm.
Yeah.
It's like new potatoes. I just squeeze a lemon over them and some olive oil, and it's better than, it makes the best potatoes because they're so porous. And even pasta is very porous when it comes straight out of the pan. So a little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper straight on it, and it's just kind of sucking it all up. Yeah.
Sucks it up, yeah. That is lovely. Really good.
Good.
I love all the flavours.
I think the seeds just give it that really nice crunch to that as well. It's kind of just...
And they've got quite a good flavour too as well.
Yeah,
well,
I think
a bit of
Cajun.
Yeah,
like that.
You can't beat a bit of Cajun because I also love they have a Worcester sauce one.
Yeah,
Worcestershire
I've eaten them.
Have you?
I've eaten them. Or I sat there in the office and just nibbled on those the other week, which is why we're with Cajun ones today.
Cajun are just as good though.
Yeah. Well, look, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate you coming up to see us.
I've loved it.
Hopefully, we've showed you how a different way to use seeds and oats.
Yeah, definitely. I would have never thought of particularly the oats. I would have never thought of that at all. So
well, it's one of those, and you can see how crunchy they are now. You can just leave those.
I tried.
Yeah, go for it. But they would work on that as well, equally as well. Put them in a pot.
That tastes really good with the nuts as well.
Yeah, it's just texture, crunch. More oats. Oats are so good for you.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of slotting them in where you can, really.
Yeah.
But look, thank you very much.
No, well, thank you.
Really
I've learned
appreciate
so much, and it's definitely 2 recipes that I'll be taking home and using.
Good. Good luck with the triathlon.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Need it.
Maybe you'll be racing my daughter in a few years.
Well, you never know. She's a little bit younger than me, though, so if she's catching me up, I'll be slightly concerned.
Yeah.
But no, good luck to her. I hope she finds that drive.
I know. Yeah. I think I need to hook her up with you. Bit of determination.
Take her out. I'll take her out on the bike. Take her for a swim. Although she's probably faster than me at swimming. You never know.
I don't know about
She's as good as you say.
Well.